Man, if you haven't hit that subscribe button right down there or snare, like a snare drum, please do because we got a lot of great things going on at our Trip Studios, man. Oh, man. One is a Shure SM7B microphone giveaway that we are going to be giving away at the first of the month. So you don't want to miss on that. And all you have to do is hit that subscribe button, slam that bell, type down there as to why you like a Shure microphone, and that will get you in. Oh man, I can't reiterate how great I feel and how it is great to be on here with you guys tonight. Hang on one second. I want to try to do something here. Let's see if I can try to bring a guest in. But tonight we're going to be talking about some really cool stuff, and that is tube gear. Yeah, man. Tube gear. What is better? What is better, tube gear or solid state? You know, that's something to consider when we're buying preamps and things like that. What is actually better? Is it going to be tube gear or solid state? Let's just say it's your first purchase and you don't really know what to buy. Are you going to go out and buy something that's solid state? Or are you going to go out and buy something with a tube in it? There's so many preamps out there with tubes in it, compressors out there with tubes in it, microphones out there with tubes in it. So what's the best to do? Are you gonna buy a tube mic and a tube compressor and a tube preamp? Or are you gonna switch it up? Are you gonna get a tube microphone and then let's just say a solid state preamp and a tube compressor? There's all these variables and different options that you have to choose from. And when you're first starting out, wow, I mean, it's almost like there's too many options. You ever been shopping and maybe for your favorite potato chips or whatever, and they've got all these different options to choose from, and you can't make a choice on actually which ones you want. I know I do that all the time, man. But tube gear and microphones, it's really something you really need to kind of think about. I like both. I like using both in my arsenal. I like having tube microphones and I like having tube. As you can see, I have tube preamps, tube compressors, and they're all nice to me. They're definitely going to give you a different sound. A lot of people that do a lot of rap and whatnot like a lot of solid state stuff, and they kind of want it as clean as they can without any second and third harmonics in there. At least that's what I understand from many people out there doing a lot of work in that field. But I would have to say that I enjoy all of it, you guys. So it really just comes down to taste and preference as to what type of a tube gear that you're going to actually buy. I will say that if you're just starting out, because I did have a guy write in the other day, and he's just starting out, and I like to, and he was asking me, what he should buy as far as a microphone and a preamp to actually start a little channel and whatnot. And I would have to say, just get something as clean as possible. Avalon makes some really, really great clean stuff. I've always, and they've been around forever. And so here's the thing I like about Avalon. I've worked with Avalon equipment before, and the knobs and everything on there just feels really like when you go to turn something from one setting to the next, they have this nice click in there that when you're locked in, you're there, and everything just seems to be made out of some really, really, really nice top of the line parts in your Avalon gear. And so I would have to say get you a nice little preamp and maybe a little Avalon piece, and then a really nice clean microphone. This microphone, if you're doing broadcasting stuff and that's all you plan on doing is your broadcasting, I highly suggest the Shure SM7B or the RE20, simply because those are your two main race horses um, on the track whenever it comes to doing tracking and whatnot in the studio or your podcast or broadcasting. When you look in all your newscasts and whatnot, and you look at those guys in there interviewing other people sitting across the table, they're either talking through two different microphones. They're either talking through the Shure SM7B right here or the RE20 by Electro Voice, and they're both great microphones. I have to say that. I have both of them, um, and I try to use them often in my arsenal. Even whenever I'm singing my vocal track, sometimes I'll go back and forth, or I'll do a vocal take and actually sing through different microphones as I'm tracking, and then I'll pretty much listen back to them and see how they're setting in the mix with very little EQ on them, and uh, and then depict actually which microphone that I want to use in the mix after I kind of get going. And so it's a really neat thing, but I think that'll help you out, man. I think just get you a nice, clean, solid state preamp and possibly this Shure SM7B microphone. But this is what I will have to say about if you're going to be doing your podcasting and you're going to be using a dynamic microphone, especially if you're going to be using the Shure SM7B or you're going to be using the RE20. They both take a lot of gain to actually get them going and pump up the volume. I think, typically around 58, 60 dB of gain actually gets you working them at optimal level. And you don't want to skip on your preamp. So your preamp really needs to have a lot of power to push them. They've got these SoundCloud things out these days that you actually put in line. I would only use one of those honestly because I think you're over $100, and I would only use one of them if I was having long runs in my audio. But other than that, I don't think I would even worry about getting one of those SoundCloud lifters. I would just buy a bad to the bone preamp with enough gain in there in your preamp that's gonna cover the load, man, and carry the package. So I really wouldn't worry about getting a SoundCloud. So because by the time you buy one of those and buy a nice preamp, you spent more than you had to. Just go out and get you one nice, beautiful, high gain preamp with with this microphone right here or the RE20, and you are gonna rock some worlds, man. Your audio is gonna be super super clean, super super clear, and your fans are gonna love your podcast because your audio is sounding wonderful. And I have to say that your audio and your video needs to be really, really, really clean. As far as hey Dennis, what's a going on, man? Yo, Master 1907. Okay. Anyway, what I have to do here? Let's see. Show that. Let's see if I can show that. No, we don't want to hide that. Show that. Okay, there you are. I see you now. Hey, hey, hey. Let's see if I can get you in there with me. Yeah, man. Oh, yeah, look, we did it. Hey, buddy, what's going on, man?
I got my Randy glasses.
I love it. You gotta have your glasses, man, and you gotta have your top on, man. It's the way we it's the way I miss you, man. How are you doing?
Good, good, good. Just trying to stay positive through this whole nonsense. You know how it is.
I know. I know. I know. And you know what? I've been trying to get on as much as I can. We've had that storm here recently.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it literally wiped out not just a section of Texas, but I'm talking everybody went down. And
I know, but you were getting ready before that. A week
I
before
was.
you were, going down to the beach and making sure your house was buttoned up.
Yes,
That was smart. I think it just really took a lot of people by surprise. They didn't think they would get that cold.
right, and it did, and it stayed cold. Even in the past that we've had little ice storms and whatnot, Dennis,
Mm-hmm.
they would come, and the next day it'd be 70 degrees again. I mean, it would all
Right.
melt and it'd be gone. It wasn't this snow on the ground for days, you
It's
know.
like that here too. Yesterday was probably 20 degrees. Today it's
Wow.
45.
Wow.
It's not a drastic change considering the time of the year, but it's pretty big change.
I know. I know. So
There was snow everywhere yesterday, and today melted all the way.
oh wow, man. Wow. So if you've been staying warm, I guess do y'all have gas where y'all
Yeah,
are?
yeah, we're all
Okay.
gas. I mean, I'm
Okay.
close. We're pretty close to all the main deals. I'm not in the sticks or anything. I'm just
Okay.
north of New York City, so it's really not that big of a deal.
Perfect.
Though a lot of people around here did lose power,
Wow. Wow.
during this last storm, so it's hard to say.
Yeah.
We did
Yeah.
lose power, last time they had a big storm for a couple of days, but nothing. All
Nothing.
they restored very quickly.
Yeah. Oh wow, y'all are fortunate, man. Yeah, there was
Mm-hmm.
people that didn't have power. There were actually people that, lost their life, man.
There's
And
people that still don't have power.
wow, yeah. I know. So anyway, I was fortunate enough, man, to we gathered everything together and had all the parts and whatnot. If things did go bad, and they went bad, and we had a Generac just installed. I think I mentioned that to you. We just had a Generac that it runs my brother's house, and then when the electricity goes off, his will power up. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and then I have to actually go outside and pull the lever on my house because I'm just a slave to him.
Right.
But that's okay.
Hey,
I
whatever
mean,
works.
yeah, whatever works, right?
And
So,
a lot of people here put up generators too.
wow, man, it's almost like a must, right? Hey, I
Well,
like the
sometimes you don't know how bad these winter storms are going to be, and it seems like lately, every year, they seem to have some kind of a spin on them. So it's not bad to be prepared.
right, right. Hey, man, isn't that crazy that
Mm-hmm.
and you know what? The seasons are kind of getting so whacked up, Dennis, over here, man. I don't know about where you're at, but look, all my azaleas were blooming on February the 1st out here. My mimosas, my
Normally,
big
when do they normally do?
well, later on, never this early.
How soon though? I mean, do they
Like,
bloom in April?
yeah, yeah, sometimes and sometimes,
Okay,
March, but
yeah,
February the 1st, they were putting on blooms, and the 22nd, so I went out there and took a picture of them because
yeah,
my other brother couldn't believe they were blooming at my house, and then I took a picture of them and sent them to him, and then on the 22nd, walked out there and took another picture, everything
interesting.
burnt, so they're probably not gonna bloom at all because of the freeze and whatnot. But man, tonight I was talking about tube gear, Dennis. What's your thoughts on that, man? Because I had a guy write in the other day, and he was asking me, man, I want to do a podcast channel. I want to do a little channel, and I
Hmm.
really don't know what to buy. I don't know how much money I need to spend on something like that. And everybody really likes something clean. I mean, you want to be heard and
Yeah.
whatnot. And he was asking me what my opinion on that, whether tube gear or solid state.
Well,
I
it
don't know.
really depends on what you're willing to put out because they all have their own character.
Right.
One obviously has a little bit more bigger price range, but
Hmm.
they're relatively all affordable these days.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know that you necessarily need to go and get a tube preamp. It's nice to have a tube preamp, just like it is nice to have two guitar amps, but they're not
Hmm.
affordable to everyone. And a lot of people, me included, early on got to use very fancy equipment. And to be perfectly honest, because of my naivete or not being knowledgeable enough, I didn't notice a difference.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
someone would loan me, a nice Neumann mic and a nice compressor, and I was like, yeah, it passes signal, sounds cool. But me being so new to things and not really having something else to compare it to at the time, it
Right.
worked. you know,
Right. Right.
and sure, it recorded great, and it did things that I didn't realize until after years later or months later when I tried to process the material
Right.
that I didn't consider when I was recording, because you get caught up in different things, either the setup or the circumstances of what you were doing to do the recording. there's a lot of things that can pass you by if you're not really paying attention.
Yes. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what something does on that level, like a two preamp compared to another two preamp, is very subtle.
Right.
However, again, if you are conscious of it and you know what you're in the source that you're pairing it up with, the microphone that you're pairing it with, the player that you're playing it with, because it takes a certain person to take a certain type of musician to know how to play to a certain microphone,
Right. Right. Right.
and
Yeah.
not all musicians know how to do that. It's just like the microphone technique on singers,
Mm-hmm.
no
Mm-hmm.
different. A
Yeah.
drummer, upon hearing themselves, can identify how much of a dynamic swing they can give under a performance for these microphones to work.
Right.
They know how much not to blare out.
Right.
If they have to really blast a bunch of tom hits, really hard, they don't have. They know how not to go for it,
Right.
so to speak.
Right. And still make it happen without having to kill it.
Yeah, and
Right.
unfortunately, that's something that you don't really see on it until you get to work with very good musicians,
Mm-hmm.
with
Yeah.
under very good certain, not necessarily good circumstances, with the ability to have good gear capture, or at least to listen to what these people are doing, and
Mm-hmm.
them hearing what they're doing, because
Mm-hmm.
that's when you see that particular thing,
Right.
which
Right.
helps you set up your gear accordingly and choose what gear you will be using.
Right. 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 That makes
Because
perfect
then,
sense.
if I'm going to be recording a drummer who's very, hardcore, very fast drummer, I'm probably not going to use a two preamp. Two preamp, because based on the electronics, the type of the electronics, two based reacts very slowly.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
whatever it is that you want to get out of a two preamp, actually, I'll take that back a bit. For recording, it's not as bad as it would be for, say, I wouldn't necessarily put a tube compressor on a heavy metal guitar, though there are instances where I would. Again, it's a piece of type of circuitry that reacts very slowly. That's why, so for instance, some of the older compressors get modified to have faster attack times,
Mm-hmm.
like the
Right.
LA2As, not the LA3,
Yes.
sorry, the LA3As or the LA4As. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of them get a modification that allows them to react quicker.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
attack time becomes a lot quicker and not an auto thing. So that's basically it. And then for preamps, it's not as bad because the preamp is just a signal that's happening throughout. It's not being cut out or processed or. So that's also a lot of people use compressors as part of the signal chain,
Yeah.
especially two compressors. It's just to pass the signal through it to impart the sound with that warmth or bigness, if you want to call it that.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's so much gear out there these days, man, right? I mean, there's
There's that.
so wow,
There's
you know.
that. No, I don't think at any point in history people had these many choices
I know.
in all kinds of different ways.
You're right
You
with
know,
everything.
back in the day, people had two, three guitars to play if they were really successful.
Yeah.
The most of our heroes had one or two instruments that they
Yeah.
played.
Right.
And on that turn in that era, the people on the other side of the glass had three, four, five mics to choose from, and one console and one or two effects if they had effects. If that, it was a chamber for the most part.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
I know, man. It's gotten to where I'd mentioned earlier, it's like going down the potato chip aisle or something, man. They've got all this variety of chips to choose from. Well, what the heck? Which one do I want? It's like, I mean, when I think of all the different brand names out there, man,
yeah,
you have Warm Audio, you have Avalon, you have Teletronics, you have, I mean, just so many different companies that are
exactly.
producing out, some good, great gear.
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
Yeah, it's
so
just really making, I think, a conscious effort to not jump on the bandwagon of buying everything, or as many things as you see, because you can get caught up in that, and
right,
really doesn't help anyone. You end up being in debt a lot more
right,
than you need to be.
Right.
And a lot of times people just really overbuy
Yeah.
things
Right.
that they don't really understand. I've gone to many studios. People have great gear, and they really don't know how to use it.
Mhm. And there's so much out there. Either they buy it or they get stuck on one thing and they don't
Yeah,
even, use it at all, like you say. It just sits in the rack, you know?
yeah, and it doesn't have to be expensive. Just knowing the limitations and of any gear that you get, really.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, and you know what? I gotta be honest with you, Dennis. I like both, man. I like
Okay.
solid state for some things, and I
Same
like
here.
tube for other things, you know? And,
Mm-hmm.
typically, if I'm doing vocal tracks, if I'm using my Telefunken microphone, it has a tube in it, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
typically like to run it through a something solid state after that. So I'm getting my tube, I'm getting that saturation up front in the mix, right? So I'm
Sure.
hitting it in the beginning before it even goes through anything else. But I've heard people, and I've actually heard some tracks, Dennis, where everything was tube, the tube microphone, the tube
Mm-hmm.
pre, and the tube compressor.
Well, there's plenty of it. Like I said, it depends on what you're doing and what you're accustomed to doing.
Hmm.
I would put tube compression, vocal chain. If it was a very dynamic singer.
Yeah.
If it's a crooner or somebody that has a soprano type of range that
Hmm.
doesn't really go too much into a very excited state when they're singing, I
Hmm.
really don't see a reason to put anything in front of it. Put the mic, put it right on the preamp, and let the preamp do what it does.
Oh man, isn't
You know,
that the
if you
truth?
know, if you know what you're doing
Right.
and you're not crushing it and it's not tape anymore, obviously, so you don't get the benefit of that.
Right.
Um, I mean, it really is on your skill as an engineer. Set that level where it needs to be, or else.
Right. Right.
Those are lessons that are, I think, since the beginning of the industry's beginning, hard learned.
Yeah.
If you don't know how to put that button right, don't expect
Right.
things to work properly.
Right. Right. Yeah. I've actually.
Whether you have a tube compressor or a Martian, destruction, I don't know.
Right. Right. Yeah. There's so much to choose from. Well, hopefully, I kind of told him, the Avalon gear, as you know, Dennis, is been around a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and they're heavyweights in the game, man. I mean, it's not something that they're going to be disappointed with if they did spend a little bit on a single channel preamp.
No, they're
But
well worth
you
it.
know,
They have a high gain, like you said. They're
mm,
high voltage, so it's something that carries a very good bandwidth sound.
mm-hmm.
Doesn't sound little like those Chinese
Oh man,
built preamps that you can buy over the shelf everywhere.
right.
It's a good product. I've read it before, and in fact, uh, I've heard somebody speak about an Avalon compressor, and I've
Mm-hmm.
been very curious to find more about it,
Mm-hmm.
which
Yeah.
I
Well,
imagine that it's probably something that's very transparent.
yeah. Very transparent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. So something like that that's real transparent might be the angle he might want to go at. And here's the thing, Dennis. Even if he isn't by some chance happy with it,
Mm-hmm.
here's the thing. He can always turn right back around and sell it, man, and get his money out of it. Simply
Maybe,
because when you
you know,
buy something nice, you're going to be able to sell it.
for
So,
me to make the decision to sell something, it has to be really wrong. And I, perfectly honest, I never really feel something is extremely wrong unless it's something, some MIDI unit from like 20 years ago.
right.
Um, I'll find something to do with it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, me personally, I've never been of the type of buy something with the mindset to sell it.
Sell it. Right. Right.
I never have been. Um,
Yeah.
I can't imagine being that way. I can't. My gear is just my gear until
Right.
until somebody else, my kid, I hopefully
Inherits
decides
it.
to do something with it.
Right. Right. Isn't that awesome, man? Well, there's so many, I got people writing in with different questions and whatnot, and that was one of them. And I was like, man, I was thinking to myself, and I thought about that earlier today. I was like, there's so much to choose from, right? There's just so much to choose from. but if you buy one something really nice, you shouldn't have any regrets.
And
And,
just learn how to use it in a lot of different ways.
mhm,
I have one tube compressor,
mhm,
but luckily, well, not luckily. I mean, I bought a stereo tube compressor so I can use it in a number of different ways.
right.
And even though my work, um, the way that I work is hybrid, it's I can still use it in a number of different ways, even within a mix. I don't have to leave something on an insert live. If I want to use the same compressor on a number of other things, I'll just print the track with a compression in it
You're right, right, and it's
and
already
call it a
there.
day.
Exactly.
Then I'll leave it and use it later on at the end. Once everything else is processed, I'll use it for my bus, my stereo
Mhm.
bus.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'll compare it. If I don't like it printed, because sometimes depending on the amount of process, it will print differently than the way you want to process it. So
Mhm,
you have to be conscious of that.
mhm,
Um,
mm.
if I can't get the same result by printing, I'll find a way to make it so it's live.
Right,
And
right.
when I bounce, it's a live bounce. Obviously, you cannot do a offline bounce if you have something inserted live. That's a tube compressor. So
Yeah, yeah. So what's going on with you guys over there, man? Are y'all I mean, I've been meaning to ask you and call you and whatnot, but it's been crazy here. But are the people moving around? What's it like? Does it look like there's any hope for us getting out and
well, work is starting a little bit, but it's mostly the same. Over live streams and stuff of that nature. Nothing really live, at least from what I do.
yeah,
Still doing lots of web-based seminars and things like that. Um, Hoping to get some more remote work where I don't have to, leave the house. Luckily,
right,
I said I have stuff here that I can work out of.
right.
And that's basically it. Out there, nothing's happening.
Ye-
Like I mentioned to you earlier, we're in the middle of this live production summit that's happening today and tomorrow, and all these subjects are being um, discussed by some of the top people in the industry. And we all take it with a big grain of sand and prepare for the best or worst.
right, right.
A lot
Well,
of us. I'm coming up. What's it today? The 25th. On March 8th will be exactly a year since I did a real show.
wow.
A show with musicians, with gear, and a load in and load out.
Oh wow, Dennis. Wow, wow. Well, man, I'm hoping that things get back to somewhat normal where we can get out there and actually I was talking about that the other night on a video I did, man. At some of the concerts I went back uh
Mm-hmm.
in the 80s and enjoyed and really liked. I went to a lot of concerts back then.
I'm
But
sure.
I love concerts, man. It's something about going and
So do I.
yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, man, cuz you the man. You the man. You the man, you know.
I'm one of them of many people.
Yeah, but here's the
It,
thing
it takes an
without you.
army, man,
Yeah,
and
but
I
what
miss that army.
I know, right? You miss your team.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, I know, man. Something about being a part of that and being around music and everybody knows their part and their gig and what they need to take care of. It's kind of a neat thing. It makes you feel
Well,
good that
it's
you
fun
know.
to be able to turn over and one see your artists having fun and connecting with the audience and seeing the audience, and then all of a sudden you're not even part. You are part of it obviously because you're contributing to this, but all of a
Right.
sudden you see that connection between the audience and the artist, and
Yes.
and that's what you want.
Right. Oh yeah,
And the
man.
same thing happens in the studio where you've done everything that you can to set up or tech or push the right buttons enough that your artist just closes their eyes and you hear it. You'll hear it in your monitors. You're gonna be like, shit, this is the lightning right here.
Right. Right. Wow, man.
Whether it's the first track or the first take or the 80th take, though hopefully nobody gets to do 80th takes.
Right. Yeah, hopefully they can nail the track,
Yeah,
before then.
yeah. If you're taking 80th takes, you should have a conversation with the artist.
Right.
Hopefully not in the studio.
Right, man.
At that point, somebody should be buying your shots.
Exactly, man. Well, hopefully, Dennis, I keep thinking about it, and hopefully, for some reason, I feel like that it's gonna come back around. I really do, uh,
It will,
for
but
us.
realistically, people need to realize that it won't be the same as it always was.
Right.
Um, I think as a country, we have to bite the bullet with some of our own doing, if you will.
Mhm.
Um, Things could have been differently, and we have to recognize that.
Right.
And now we just have to kind of pick up the pieces and move on.
Yeah, I know, man. I know. I think about how many just people are involved in your team that actually go out and are, lifting things. Well, the other guys are lifting things and moving things.
Oh,
And
I still join in. I'm there at the first call like everybody else.
mhm,
Um, sure, I'm more like on the beginning part of a regular day. I'm more on the showing things and where people put their things and everything, and then I have folks do stuff for me. But yeah, um,
mhm,
it's no less work than most other folks. Um,
right.
it's still a pretty full day.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and the camaraderie and everything
Oh
between you
yeah,
guys, man, it's just, you know, thumbs up, I can't imagine going a whole year and not being with my team, you know what I mean? I mean, there's so much, and then so when you're there, I mean, how do you stay 6 feet apart? How do you keep that distance when you're moving equipment?
that's one of the new challenges these days. I mean, the technical thing now, as even in some of the more advanced productions, I'm sure it won't be any less advanced. But now you have the added uh, quote unquote bonus of having to observe not just for yourself, but for your whole crew and your whole production and your artist.
Mhm, mhm,
Because someone touched today, I mean, the people that will be touring and people will be touring are probably the most at risk. And not only that, but we're almost also at risk of spreading stuff that
right,
we catch along the way.
mhm,
So there's all these different layers of um, management that need to be developed,
right,
and that's why a lot of things are actually currently just being worked on.
yeah,
This is all new for everyone. So, and on another top of that, someone mentioned that as long as the insurance industry feels they can have a way of handling all this, things might start because it all comes down to that:
right, right.
lawyers and lawsuits and all that.
Oh, man, I
And
know.
that's why
Wow.
right now no one's doing any tours. Yeah.
No,
And all
no.
those people have armies of lawyers, that they say no, 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 no.
Right, right,
We're not
yeah.
there yet. We're not New Zealand.
Yeah, everybody's just kinda hanging back and seeing what's gonna go down, I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
know, there's so many precautions, like, I've been really hitting it hard at the gym, man. I've been, doing these classes, and we got summer coming up, man, and,
Mm-hmm.
last summer, I don't know if you know, but, man, I almost freaking had a heat stroke. It got so hot here, man, and
Oh man.
the heat index went way up, and I was working really, really hard outside, and I probably wasn't getting, enough water like always, right?
Oh yeah, I know how that is. I've had heat stroke a couple of times myself. So
Oh my gosh, dude, I
yeah,
really and it
I did as a kid, not now.
oh, well, see, once you have one once, you're more susceptible to, that
Yep.
happening again,
Mm-hmm.
and so I was real susceptible already, and so, yeah, man, I told myself, I was like, "Dude, I'm gonna get in the gym. I'm gonna just do whatever I can. If I die trying to get in shape, then at least I'm getting in trying to get in shape, right?"
Exactly.
And so, man, but last night I went and did this core class. That was 30 minutes long. I immediately left that class and went into an RPM class, which is a bike class for 30 minutes getting after it, man. Oh man, and it's
Do
not
go get a checkup though.
right.
Go get a checkup. I actually should be doing that myself, and
Yeah,
I'll say that because not last week.
right.
Um, he's a good acquaintance of mine. He's Brad Divins. He mixes concert sound for Enrique Iglesias,
Oh wow.
and I
Wow.
think he's younger than me. But
Mhm.
he's young guy, not overweight, you know, trim or whatever.
Mhm.
He puts a post on Facebook last week. I went in for a stress test and stayed in for a quadruple bypass.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so
Wow.
it puts
What
you on check a little bit.
yeah, it does. Well, we had a I didn't know this. I didn't even know the guy, but I was talking to the guy at the counter at the gym,
Yeah,
and he was telling me that they had a guy, 31 years old, man. 31 years old,
yeah,
huge, big arms, looked like he was in shape,
yeah.
everything.
That makes no difference.
Passed away.
Yeah, there you go. They drop like that. Well, I don't think this guy was older than me, and I don't think I'm necessarily in best of shape, but I'm not. I don't think I'm necessarily in worse shape either, and I'll do a little bit of it. Um, but that took me by surprise.
Yeah.
A
Wow.
quadruple's a big deal. My dad had a three. What is it? The triple, and I know the quadruple and a guy that's younger than this guy, it's got to be something else. So yeah, I'm gonna find a doctor real quick, real soon. Go get
And
a
physical and
physical
look.
happening, and start making changes.
Yeah.
We don't last forever, sure, but we can make it a little bit better.
Yeah, at least yeah, that's right. We'll feel better a little longer and be able to do things until, we go
Yeah,
home or whatever. But I was gonna ask
yeah.
you,
We
man,
gotta be able to lift those microphones, man.
got to be able to hey, you know what? I'm gonna be holding one of those suckers on my deathbed, man. Cause I
Uh,
love every one of them, Dennis. Hey, I was gonna ask you, man, how are you guys eating good? Are y'all watching your diet and whatnot? Are y'all
oh
eating
yeah,
good?
I've been doing that sort of thing for a while. First of all, I'm not a cola guy.
Mhm.
Soft drinks have never been a thing in my house.
Oh, well, good.
Um,
You're
yeah,
good,
always
man.
been like juices and water and things like that.
Mhm.
Um, no, no, I'm not a very snacky person or anything.
Mhm.
Like I stopped smoking cigarettes 11 years now.
Oh, that's great. That probably
Coffee,
has
I
to
quit coffee like 8 years ago.
oh, well, the cigarettes, has to be probably the worst for your body, I think,
Well,
man.
that was just I was young and you do that,
Right.
but it took a while to get rid of it. But it finally I don't even crave it anymore.
Yeah.
I never
So,
get. Go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna ask you, man, did you get that, compressor you were thinking
Oh,
about building?
not yet, but it's
Oh,
available
man.
again. It's available again.
Oh my gosh. Oh my
I'm
gosh.
so aching, but I really do want to stick to preamps this year
Okay.
because I did get my Anthony de Maria, the stereo LA2A,
Yeah.
but this other one is very tempting. It's a throwback on the Neve 3354.
Yeah.
You, you,
Wow.
you saw the kit,
Yes, I did.
and it's cheap.
Oh, man.
It's cheap. It's like when you buy at the yeah, at the end of when you buy, you pay and you end up being like $600 for one channel of a really good recreation of the 33609. Oh,
Well,
sorry,
see
the 3354,
well,
2254.
here's the thing though, Dennis. I mean, you know how to do all that and put it together. A lot of people don't, so for you, you see every part, you're putting it in there and you're precise and you know whether you made a good solder joint and all that other good stuff, man. So
Mm-hmm.
that'd be a great little thing to keep your mind going and
Well, I'm
whatnot.
always happy. I've privately offered this sort of thing for a while. A number of years ago, I started building. Um, First, I was very interested in modifying a guitar pedal that I have. Some of the big muffs don't really sound that good.
Yeah.
And I had one, and one day I got online and I found a couple of articles, and ended up going down to Radio Shack when Radio Shack was around,
Mhm.
And for about $5, I got, I think it was three different transistors, and I exchanged them, and it became a really nice pedal. After that, I started finding some companies that had different kits and things like that, and some companies that offered very custom um, versions of stuff that was available. And I built some of these, and they were really cool. And then I found out that if I, you know, made sure that the parts were the right tolerance, these pedals would sound really, really, really good.
Oh, wow, yeah, yeah,
In
man.
fact, where I had a guy from a band that I knew from Venezuela, very famous guys. He wouldn't return my demo.
Oh, wow.
He just wouldn't return my pedals. I was like, dude, I
He like,
really need
oh,
the pedals back.
right.
And he's like, oh yeah, sure, man, it's in the mail. you
Oh,
know.
yeah.
And to this day, this is like 5 years later, I still don't have the pedals back.
Oh,
But
wow.
it was cool. I mean, I still, I built stuff for other people,
Yeah,
and you learn a lot along the way, anyways. And
right.
it's not just the soldering part, because different parts require different attention.
Exactly. Hey, I was gonna ask you, do y'all have an electronics store near you that you can actually go in and
Go
actually
around here, not a
and
clue.
look at the resistors and look at the capacitors and
No,
all that?
man. The last time well, there used to be a Radio Shack down a town away. The
Okay.
last time I went there, the guy looked at me, goes, transistors? So
Oh.
yeah, no,
So we have one that's local here, believe it or not.
nice.
It's called Ralph's Electronics. They've been here forever, and we can go in and actually, pull out
Those
the
stores
resistors
are
and
awesome.
yeah, I
There was
know.
one in Orlando that I used to go to when I lived there, and those are usually in Texas. You have a lot of space program places, and a lot of those parts,
Yeah.
surplus parts, end up in places like that. I'm sure they have a lot of
Oh,
old weird military stuff.
oh, so hey, here's the thing. About 10 years ago, when I was really like, into tubes and buying different tubes, changing them out in my gear and see if I could hear any difference, I sought
I did.
out I sought out, Dennis, a bunch of old RCA tubes, went down to Ralph's Electronics, and they let me walk back there and look through all their old stuff, man. Old stock, found a bunch of old stock tubes,
Yeah,
man.
and you didn't get them either.
Yeah, I did.
Oh,
I
you did.
bought 'em.
Okay.
Yeah, I bought 'em.
Right.
I bought
And you still have these?
I have a few of them. I
Okay.
sold some of them on eBay.
Because in some gear they do make a difference. The first time I did that sort of thing was I remember the ART had these personal like one channel preamps.
Okay.
They're like $120, and if you changed the little tube that came in them, they did saturate a little differently,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially
Oh,
if you got the completely different wrong tube.
yeah.
That was really cool.
I know. Some of them kinda, and there was this one, I wanna say I modded an old MXL microphone and I actually put an old RCA tube in there, man. Oh,
Hmm.
Dennis, man, I could tons of difference. I mean,
Well,
I could hear the
just as long as if the type of tube that fits in the socket,
mhm.
you will get some kind of response to it.
Yeah,
Even
yeah.
within brand tubes of the same type.
Mhm.
Because had that happen with the little ART preamp. I took I think I had a bunch of tubes from my all my tube amps, the 12AX7s,
Right.
and I had 12AX7s from my four different brands, and they each sounded differently.
It sound different. Yeah. Wow.
And
You
not
know
only that, but this little preamp had, it was also a DI
yeah,
and a XLR preamp. So
right.
it did cool different things. So depending on what you plugged in it,
Yeah.
whether it was a guitar, DI, or a bass,
Yeah.
or a mic.
I used to have that daggum preamp, man, and I gave it to one of my drummer that was coming laying some tracks down for me. Little
Mm.
square little art,
Yeah, yeah.
little
Well,
preamp.
luckily they're even cheaper now.
Yeah.
they had a number of different versions of it. They had the black one, and they had a silver one, and then I think even DBX had one
Yeah,
in
mine
the
was
same case that was silver.
yeah, same mine was black. It was one of the first it
Yeah,
was like
that's
the first year they came out or whatever
yeah.
with it.
No, I bought it because I was doing a recording for somebody, and I was like, yeah, this will give me an edge. It's a
Yeah.
tube preamp, and
Oh, and it
it
did.
actually did. It
I
worked great.
know. I miss that little preamp, man. I
Yeah.
gave it to him, he's like, "Man, I really like this." And I was like, at the time, I was,
Hmm.
I got these, and yeah, take it, man. And I ended up giving it to him, but man, that little
Yeah, no, they
thing.
were super cheap even back in the day, but now I think they're
Oh,
even cheaper now.
yeah, wow, nice. I wonder if they're made as well, like whenever they first started. I wonder
Well,
if the parts or you know,
I'm pretty sure they were always Chinese. So I don't know. I mean,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
your guess is as good as mine whether they were
What?
better later on.
Well, that was the one. That was the one that I think actually changed the tube out. And that one, it seemed like I changed the tube. What was the name of that? What was the name of that? One of the first compressors I actually bought was it Ross? That sound
Ross or Rolls,
Rolls?
the Rolls, yeah, the Roll stuff was kind of cool.
You remember that one?
You had to
Silver
kind of really
Rolls.
crank it. Yeah, you had to
Yeah,
crank
yeah,
it for it to
yeah,
really do something.
yeah. But so that the art preamp DI or some very some pieces that I had years ago, man, that I go in there and change those tubes out in, man. See if I can hear
Hey, it
any
did do
different.
something, just as long as it passed signal, you learn how to use it.
Yeah, man. But it was I tell you what I really heard the big difference on. It wasn't the preamp so much and it wasn't the compressor as much as it was the microphone.
Well, yes,
That,
it takes a while, but you eventually do hear the nuances between microphones and what they do,
hmm
especially if you're you know not changing your monitoring environment all the time because it's different.
right.
If
And
you don't have a
yeah.
if you don't have a dedicated way of listening to things, be it a good set of headphones or a good set of monitors, it's
hmm
difficult to really hear these things and
Yeah.
what things do.
Hey, I gotta ask you, man. So, do you know anything about Cush Audio? Do you
Kush
know?
Audio, I mean, I know that they make a number of different compressors and whatnot.
Do you know the guy who? Do you know he's actually
I
got a
saw his
YouTube.
videos. He's got that with the goofy hairdo.
Well, it's kind of long.
Yeah,
Looks like about shoulder length, one length.
yeah, he
You know,
seems like it'd be a fun hang.
He- at a party. No kidding, right? So I've been watching some of his YouTube videos. Man, God, dude, he's pretty. He sounds like. I mean, I don't know what his.
He has like, a lot of really good explanations, and he seems like a cool guy.
I wonder what
Um,
the heck he's using on his sound. Just doing the videos.
he probably has a hidden lavalier mic or something.
It sounds like he's right. He's got that, using the proximity effect
It
of
could be
it.
called that. It could also be a shotgun mic.
hmm
He probably has a shotgun mic just off shot above his head,
Where you don't see it, but it's catching. Yeah, maybe
and
so.
then just squashed, just really bring it up for
Yeah, because I was listening to it, and it sounds like he's right in the mic
him.
like this, and just mm,
Yeah.
sounds really good. But anyway, I've been watching some of his videos lately. So what? This way back whenever I was checking out Cush Audio, I want to say they had this compressor that he came. I don't know if he's the guy that actually came up with the stuff. With the
Well, the thing is that in regards to compression, it's a very simple process. It's just how you implement it, and that's how you have so many people coming up with gear that does
mhm,
this stuff. Same
yeah,
thing with preamps. Everyone's just kind of taking a bass and running with it.
man, we need to come up with a killer preamp. We need to build a preamp and put our name on that daggum thing.
And there's already plenty of killer preamps.
I know, I know, but
Just the
hey,
other day, I was checking the brand Mercury Electronics.
mhm.
They have these 500 units, and those are based on the Langevin consoles.
Oh, wow.
It's basically an American and the other brand besides Universal Audio.
Mhm.
When Universal was the one brand, there was this other brand called Langevin, but they're all
Okay.
in essence doing something very similar. But
Right.
it's just another flavor. And these preamps are pretty decent. They're about what they run about 600, six and change,
Mhm.
but they're 500 series. And I think he has something else based on the Motown preamps. Everybody has something interesting, so it's very difficult to make a decision into what you want to buy because then you're like, oh wait, I only have this much money.
Right. Well,
So
that's what
I was like, oh wait, for my 1,600 bucks,
Yeah.
I can get 16 tracks of Midas if I'm smart
Right. There you go.
with
So
digital outputs.
exactly. Exactly. But anyway, he has this compressor out, and I forget the name of it because
He's got a couple of different ones.
he's got some different, but one of the first ones, he was doing this video on saturation, and I just thought that was the coolest little video, man.
I like how he explained compression and how to hear it.
Mhm.
And he said how to turn it down really low.
Mhm.
I actually didn't know that, and that is very true.
Yeah. You can
You can
actually
hear it
hear
a
it
lot
working.
better.
Yeah. Have you ever done any tracking through that distressor that I was telling you about? That is
The
a
the
freaking
the,
monster.
the distressor,
Yeah, the stressor.
the empirical.
Empirical Labs, yeah.
Funny that you say. I tried to get the plugin last night, and
Okay.
just because of my version of OS 8 of OS 10, it won't take. I have to make the decision whether I want to upgrade or not use the plugin.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah,
Wow.
I might have to not use the plugin because everything is just working, and I'm just from the old philosophy: if it works, it's
It's
not
keep it, yeah.
broken.
Yeah, I was just asking because, they have some outboard gear too. They have the Fatso, and then they have the
Oh well, those are great. I've used the actual distressor, and if I
yeah,
had my option, I use the one with the grid option.
yeah, yeah,
That is as soon as you touch that button, it sounds like instant whatever
instant.
you were doing. Yeah,
Oh,
whatever you
man.
were going for, you'll get it.
Oh, I love that day. I gotta
Yeah.
get that thing back in my studio,
Like
man.
I almost said David Bowie because I was like David Bowie toms. Boom, there it is.
Right, right. Oh, man, that compressor, you can really hear it working. You can hear it slamming, and it's got second and third harmonic distortion on it. You push that
All,
button,
all
you
his
can
units are really good. The Fatso's very good. The tape saturation thing.
mhm.
But again, everyone does something very good. You just have to find the ones, and again, the budget to be able to use all this stuff.
Yeah, I think those puppies around about, like, $1,500, man, for a
The,
single channel.
the good thing though is that a lot of the plugin folks are getting on the monthly subscription thing,
Oh, I know, I seen that.
and that I think is really cool.
It allows all of it, all that
Oh
stuff.
yeah, I got it. I got the Plugin Alliance plugs,
Okay.
and those are really really good.
Yeah. You
Oh
can
no, I
actually
think that the monthly thing is like $15,
not bad.
and
Use all of 'em.
you overpay a little bit at the end of the year, sure, but
Yeah.
you get access to all this great, really good stuff. So far, I haven't tried one bad plugin, and I've
Wow.
only tried like four plugins so far, and there's literally like the page keeps going down.
Oh, man, so you hadn't even tried them all out yet?
Not at all. I've tried a couple of EQs. I tried the SSL emulations. Uh, the 33, the Neve compressor,
Yeah,
3354 emulation is very good.
really?
Yeah,
What about the SSL? Did you enjoy that? I mean,
I
that was
got I got the SSL. I got those are really good, but then
okay.
I don't know if you saw last week the SSL had their promotion
Yeah, I did.
selling like a couple of plugins for very
Yes.
cheap. I got it the last day,
Oh,
and
wow.
those are very good too.
Wow.
It gets you the bus compressor and the channel strip, but they are very good. and
Wow.
it's the SSL stuff.
And so the emulation is pretty daggum close. I
It's
mean, to
night
your
and
ear.
day to everything else. If
Wow.
you're doing exactly the same thing,
Yeah.
it's night and day.
Wow.
The
Wow.
SSL EQ does sound like an SSL EQ.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
If you've ever been on an SSL console, you'll know
Yeah.
why.
They're getting so good at that, Dennis. They're getting so good at that emulation, man. I don't. Who knows what the next 10 years is going to bring to us, man? I mean, the bit. I don't
Well,
know
it's
if
only going to get better.
I
But
know.
the yeah, the resolution is going to increase, and like the people that invented the computers said, it's only gonna, what they say, quadruple every with every, there's a formula that they, I
So
forget
I
what it said.
so I love your 192 sitting back there.
Well, I plan on getting the what's it called, the HD Thunderbolt interface,
Yeah. Oh, you're gonna. Yeah. Yeah.
and that will allow me to get all that connected onto my current setup.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, all that rack is actually from, basically, I mean, it still works.
Yeah.
I have two Macs, and each has a Pro Tools setup. Each has Pro Tools in it, but each has their own way to basically access those 192s.
Yeah.
So I can go from one machine or to the other, and they're both connected to an O2R Yamaha digitally. Everything is digitally controlled. So in essence,
Nice.
it's basically two Pro Tools systems digitally summed.
Nice. Is that linked to both your computers or just one?
Yeah,
One?
they're
Oh, nice.
both all digitally linked.
Wow. Nice. You got
And
it.
I haven't used it for a long time since I got all my, basically my mobile Pro Tools rig, but it still works. But I wouldn't mind using all those other effects that I have over here. So the best way to having it done is by using the HD Thunderbolt,
Yes.
because then, uh, see, the way that I connected all this gear is through the interfaces.
Okay.
So
Okay.
when I connect it to the just the two Digilink cables, go to the back of that connection, go right to my MADI in here, and then I have, through my Pro Tools on my laptop, access to all these effects without disconnecting anything.
That's perfect, dude.
Yeah,
So you can
and it, and it
control.
will
You can.
and it will be clocked
Nice.
externally. Even though, I
Yes.
mean, actually, I would have three clock sources at that point if I wanted to choose.
Man, that's amazing. That's awesome, dude. Hey, was that? Yeah, that was you telling me about that. What was her name? The chick that did that song for the drummer. What's his name? Oh man, my mind just went blank.
Which one? The chick with a
The
drummer
lady.
with
The
song doesn't go.
well, the lady. The video you sent me to watch. The
I
video
said
you
I
on
said
the
a
on
bunch of
the
stuff.
well, the engineer lady who did he played for who'd that drummer play for? Was it 9 Inch? No, it wasn't 9 Inch
Oh,
Nails.
Sylvia Massey.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. That's her video
Ah,
on YouTube, um, demonstrating what the new interface
the
for
new
Antelope
one.
does,
Yes.
which I want that unit.
Man, that is a bad to the
I
bone
mean,
unit.
if you guys listening in, if you haven't seen, well, the videos, video's cool. It's this lady, recording Taylor Hawkins from the Foo Fighters
Foo
and
Fighters.
his band, and
Okay.
this really iconic studio with a Neve console and all the stuff. But she's using this new piece of equipment by Antelope Audio that is, I think, of a game changer if you have the need to that sort of workflow, and you will hear it immediately. So I'm sure we can get Randy to put that link on the page if you can't find it. It's Sylvia Massey. You know, she's a great engineer. She worked on a lot of the early Tool albums, and she's got definitely a valid perspective on making records.
And she's bad to the bone.
Oh,
Hey
she's
man,
amazing.
I know. And she bought all those microphones.
Oh yeah, she got that collection from off that guy.
She got the collection, Dennis.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing about that video, you guys. It shows her using all these different array
Yeah,
of microphones from way back. way back when, right?
Yeah,
And
even
she
that crazy um, spy mic that she put
this
on the guy's wrist,
I know, wasn't that
right?
cool?
But not 2 seconds into that video starting, you hear the quality of that machine.
Oh gosh, Dennis, isn't that amazing? And what I think
Hmm.
it was like 5,200, or what does it cost? I forget what that little
It's
piece.
about 8 grand.
8,000.
Yeah,
Okay. Wow.
but it will work for anything.
Yeah. For
It'll
anything
work for any kind of studio setup that you have. You're set.
live or whatever, doesn't matter, right?
Hmm.
So here's the thing about that. If someone was to jump in and purchase something like that, here's the thing. I don't think, I mean, it does 192, doesn't it? It records at
Oh, it
192.
goes even higher than that.
Really?
I think so.
Wow. Well, 192 is just pretty, I mean, that's pretty good. That's way up there, man. I don't know. I've been recording at 44
Well,
and
192 for recording is pretty good. If I can get away with 96K, it's pretty acceptable these days.
mhm.
Um, it just comes down to a version. You have to tell your client, hey, listen, all this high resolution is going to cost you in drive space
Exactly.
because any any length of song at 96K is going to be a good chunk of drive.
Mhm. Gonna take up a lot of space. A
Hmm.
lot of
And
space.
not just that, then you have to make sure that your infrastructure is solid. You're passing a lot of high bandwidth data.
Mhm.
All your you know semi good quality cables handle stuff at
Mhm.
lower resolutions differently than they do at higher resolutions.
Mhm.
Your setup is going to work one way at 44.1, but it might not work just as good at 96K and above.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? First of all,
Yeah.
your capabilities are lessened every time you go higher. At 96K, you have less RAM and less resources to
Mhm.
begin with. If you start to go even higher than that, it becomes even worse.
Yeah. Yeah. And here's the
That's
thing,
why.
everything is gonna be dumped back down to either the 16-bit or less anyway, right? I mean, CD's
Well,
six.
that's where we are right now, yes. But
Mhm.
now that we have a world that expects a very high quality product virtually, I think we're going to have to, up
Kick
in
it
the
up.
game a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm not worried about that at all because here's the thing that here's the thing that I've been thinking about lately, Dennis, is and you and I have talked about this before, is the fact that if you think about it, when you and I were growing up, we were listening to albums and stuff and cassette tapes and
I
everything.
still listen to both. I was listening to cassette yesterday.
I love it.
No, actually, I found an old cassette and I got all crazy with transferring stuff.
I still have all this. I still have all my tapes, man. The zipper things, and you pull out I still got all my tapes. I got, and a lot of my albums. I got rid of a lot of my, but I still have that. But I got to thinking about the kids these days. Okay, they don't know what any of that stuff is. They don't. They never. I mean, MP3 is about as far as they go.
I sent my kid the other day a text because I found a picture of I try to show when you give him a mental image of what it was to live to do what he does when I was his age. And I told him when I was your age, my dad, I said, your grandfather had got me this thing that looked like a boombox, like a briefcase, and it had a little screen this big, made by Sony, and a cassette deck. And then the greatest thing it had was radio on it, and you could record from the radio, or you could record from TV too. TV was, a black and white deal, but you had shortwave radio, regular radio, FM, AM, and all the deal. Weather band, I remember that, and it had the big batteries. And I used to sneak that under my bed every night because the radio at night they wouldn't play as many commercials, so you could record the songs without
Any
anyone talking or saying any crap over it.
Right.
the songs more on the original version than with somebody talking at the beginning and the top of the song.
Right.
So I would
Right.
stay up and sneak this thing under the blanket and record on my
Boy,
cassette deck. And I told Paolo, I told my kid, this was my iPad back in the day.
isn't that something, man? Isn't that something? That's awesome, man. But here's the thing, those cassette tapes, they sounded good, man.
Yeah, they still do. There's
You know?
actually a podcast. I'll send it to you privately. I forget right now what it's called, but it's run by um, Scott Hall, who bought Masterdisc from Bob Ludwig.
Oh, wow.
And on his podcast, he talks obviously a lot about, quality of recording and audio and a lot of about LP and a lot of cassette stuff. Very good stuff for people to get back and listen for if you're getting back into things like that.
Mhm. Yeah, man.
And
Cause
even if you're not necessarily getting back into putting things on cassette or record, it's good to hear um, the technical aspects of putting stuff together for that sort of thing.
yeah. There's a lot of, I wanna say, is that Pro Audio Vintage Gear? Is that the club or whatever that's on
Oh,
Face
there's a bunch of them.
There's a bunch of them, but here's the
Yeah.
thing, there people are selling a lot of stuff right now, man. I
Well,
mean, people are
right now there's a big need. People, a lot of people aren't working.
mhm.
If
I've
you go
been
on
seeing
Reverb, yeah, if you go on Reverb and look for vintage consoles, you cry. I've
I'm
seen some SSL consoles for $30,000.
I know, and I've been seeing some nice, half-inch, 2-inch tape machines,
Exactly.
Studers.
Yeah.
Seemed like I seen the A80 or whatever? I seen one of those up
The
for sale.
880s, yeah.
Yeah,
If I could find somebody that had limited resources and help me find a warehouse and fill it with classic gear, right now is the time to do that.
isn't that the truth, man?
Mm-hmm.
God, man, there's so much floating around out there right now, and believe me, trust me, before COVID hit, I didn't see any of that stuff, man. I
A
seen
lot of the stuff is, yeah, it's
yeah.
all been since because you see really good deals out there. You have to still comb through a lot of the things because a lot of people are desperate, but
Mhm.
there are some good options out there.
No, man. Well, that I've always kind of like that was kind of like my little dream boat, man, to have a nice Studer in my studio, man. And you probably tracked with them before, haven't you?
I
Some of the
have. It's been a few years since I used one, but when you find a place that has a really nice, well maintained deck, there's nothing like it.
hmm Yeah, everything's just they probably have technicians coming in and make it. You're
Well,
ready.
not that. I mean, learning how to calibrate a machine, it's not really difficult. It's just learning how to do it properly and sticking to it.
Mm,
That said, there's also um, technologies that have come since that support that portion of process. Um,
mhm,
I don't know. I'm trying to remember the name of this machine. Clasp.
mm,
Um, it's spelled just like it is. It's an acronym for this process this company came up with. That it's a box that attaches to your tape machine that allows you to interface with, say, Pro Tools or any DAW that you choose, and you get the tape sound directly from the head
Oh, wow.
without necessarily ruining
Go
your
right. So
generations and all that stuff.
wow, so you're getting it right from the tape head
Yeah.
itself.
And
That's
it's not
awesome.
cheap, but again, it's again at the end of the day cheaper than having a gigantic budget just for tape. Because this machine just literally means that you just leave the machine on park. It's just the passing signal through your record head.
So it is an outboard piece of gear.
It's it it is an actual piece of gear
Okay.
with basically you would patch it normally into a patch bay, and it's normally patched through your inputs or whatever inputs you choose. If you find a website, you'll get a good explanation on it. But it's these
Okay.
days, if you want to go to that route of using tape, it's the best option. You
Wow.
end up using the tape machine mechanically a lot less. You basically you leave it on. The tape's not really running.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you
Wow.
use the electronics to pass the signal through and then onto your Pro Tools. So it
Wow.
still gives you that saturation that the tape would get itself.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's called
it's been
Class, huh?
clasp.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
been around for about at least 10 years,
Oh,
but
wow.
it's just it's not cheap.
Yeah.
I think it's a 24 track class system, and they do make these custom to whatever tape machine that you're using.
Mm-hmm.
Um, can be anywhere from 10 on up.
Oh, man.
Yeah, they're not cheap, but they work really well.
Yeah.
And
Well, at that price, I'd probably want to go with that interface, analog interface.
mhm,
I
there's
think
that. See,
I
at
think I
that
would rather
point, you're okay not having tape.
exactly.
If you listen to or join any of the talks of people that came through the industry using tape, they'll
Hmm.
tell you they're happy not seeing it again.
Right. Right.
Most of them.
And not to mention the tape is expensive in itself.
It's
Those r-
expensive, and now it's even more rare than it was back in the day when everybody was making it.
Mhm. Yeah.
You,
Yeah, those
you
companies are
if you have a long project, you'd be lucky if you had four, five, six tapes that sound the same
wow.
before you had to recalibrate the machine for it.
Yeah. And every time that thing's played and played back and whatever, it loses degeneration. Yeah.
You use it's audible. But you have to play it a lot
Mhm.
and badly. You have to just or fast forward a lot.
Right. Beat it up.
Yeah,
Well,
because it is at the end of the day a physical medium. There is plastic and pieces of metal on it, and
right.
it will rub off.
Yeah. I remember cleaning those tape heads, man. I want to say we had a task cam. I even had that old Fostex 8.
I did it to my tape machine, my tape deck earlier, the cassette
Look,
deck.
yeah. Yeah. And actually that thing actually but I remember cleaning those heads and whatever, and we had a demagnetizer we had to do hit that thing with, and it was kind of pretty quirky, but we actually got some pretty good sounds out of it,
It
man.
makes a difference, man. I The last time I tried this thing, I did it through a different interface, and I wasn't exactly thrilled with it. It sounded,
Mhm.
tiny.
Oh
But
yeah,
then
wow.
now I have an RME interface, and I'm like, wow, okay, that sounds like I barely need to do anything.
Right.
And
Sounds good right out of the
now I'm
box.
like, oh, maybe I should add some more guitar to it. Yeah,
Yeah, man. Hey, have you been playing around the studio? You
a
been
little bit.
yeah.
I've been playing a little bit, mostly just noodling more, just getting the guitars, keeping them, working.
Yeah. Yeah.
I even went off and tried to have some guitar lessons because I never took guitar lessons ever.
Uh-huh.
And I found online there's this guy called Arlen Roth. He's a really famous guy. Um, and I took a lesson from him, and that was extremely humbling. I was
Wow.
like, holy shit, I know nothing.
Wow. Wow. Is he a guitar player or is he a bass player?
You ever movie? You remember the movie Crossroads?
Yes.
He coached everybody in that movie.
Really?
Yeah. Do you remember those videos called Starlix? I think it was,
I think so.
where he like had a series of everybody had their own series of videos. It's like
Okay.
Starlix or something like that. He was the producer for those.
Oh, wow, man.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. And he's actually doing online classes
Well,
or
he's
whatever.
an artist, and like a lot of artists, they just have no income right now.
Right.
So
Right.
I happen to know a few people on Facebook that knew him, and his post came up online. So I, became his buddy or whatever, and I hit him up for some lessons. It was like $50 for a half hour.
Oh, man, that's
But
great.
he's like all over the place, and plus he had his Zoom on like non-mirror mode, so he to me looked like left-handed, and he's getting all
Right.
frustrated with me because I couldn't get it, and I'm like, oh shit, this is crazy, this is so embarrassing. So it was cool though. We ended up mostly talking the most of the time, but
Yeah.
I did learn a lot, and obviously, like I said, it was really humbling. And I wrote him a letter. I was like, listen, man, I need to take a few steps back to, I need to find somebody that really wants to take the time to teach me from zero.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And as
yeah.
much as I love hanging out with you, I really felt like you can have, you can spend your time better with somebody else. And I felt awful, but I did find actually one of my clients from the Fat Foe is doing lessons, and so I get him every couple of weeks, and he's been taking the time and really showing me a lot of cool stuff
Well, that's
that
why I was
I knew
wondering.
how to do, but I just didn't know what it was. You know what I mean?
Right, right, right. You just do it and just didn't know what it was called or whatever.
Yeah,
But I was thinking about you the other day, and I actually did a little video. I was thinking about you, and you came to mind because I know you play bass guitar.
that too.
And here's the thing, man. There's a lot of people out there. All this stuff, man. There's just so much weight in the world going on right now, and so I always try to encourage everyone, get in your studio, man. Pull out your bass guitar, pull out your guitar, lay down some tracks, get motivated again,
Yeah.
get back into, even if it's just picking up your guitar and just running through your scales, right? Running through your
Hmm.
scales, seeing how fluidly you can go back and forth, up and down the scale, record it, listen to it. And because when you listen back, whatever you do, you always you can hear everything.
Self critique. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Just trying to get people on that up and up, man. I've been trying to just encourage people to get in their studio because there's a lot of people, a lot of musicians,
Hmm.
there's a lot of engineers, and there's a lot of people who have a lot of talent that in these times that we're in, Dennis, need some encouragement and just to
Oh,
get in there,
definitely.
man, and
Oh, we all do, and
you know,
we all have our slumps. Like we spoke a couple of weeks ago. I had a really good, um, close friend of mine, a career friend of mine, pass away, unfortunately. And not everyone hits you that way, but every once in a while, something does come across that
hmm,
does that.
right.
And so I
Humbles you.
appreciate you checking in.
Yeah, humbles you and makes you appreciate a lot
Yeah,
because you really realize at that time when you lose a good friend or your dad or your mom or someone, you realize at that time it's like it kind of humbles you. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Set you back a little bit and kind of reevaluate how you want to spend the rest of your life and what you want to do. And so
yeah,
I know whenever I lost my dad, it kind of set me back for about a year and a half, as far as, reevaluating a lot of things. And, it's fragile, man. Life is
it is.
fragile,
It is.
it's real fragile. And so we got to keep taking care of ourselves, man, and motivating one another, man, and stay
Exactly.
healthy. So
And get
anyway,
good mics.
and and they have
Get good
great
mics.
microphones, man. I know. I love them all. I love them all, Dennis. It's, I don't know, man. There's just so many and they all sound great, right? I don't think there's a bad
Yes, they do.
microphone.
They all sound really good.
I
But
mean, you were
this, like I said, this is the year of preamps, and I'm hoping to be able to get some of those what's it called, the audio maintenance preamps that I told you about.
yeah,
Those are looking really good.
yeah. They make single channel or no? Or is they just sell them in, dual
They
channel?
well, they you can buy them built or in kit form,
Okay,
and they also have that compressor. But
okay.
I'm right now interested in their 1073 preamp. It's at the 500 series.
If you get that, we need to get online or get on the phone and talk. I wanna hear more about that, man,
Hmm.
because, I really like that 500 series stuff, man, and like you and I were talking about on the past video, if you wanna get on wherever, throw that puppy in the back of your car and drive, it's not like you gotta tear down your whole rack. It's like a lunchbox, man, you just
Yeah,
carry that, you know?
get a 3 channel box, a 2 channel box, and then go to town.
Man, I love that. I love
Hmm.
that, and there's so many of those you can choose from too, man,
Oh,
but if you're
everybody's making them now.
I know, but if you're gonna build yours, man, I want.
Well, I see. When I told you last, I had found the one kit that seemed really cool, but then I found this other company that just makes a 10 bay version. So now I'm like, oh, I should get that one instead.
Oh, yeah. Well, you might as well
Well,
because if you got 10 bay,
that company Mercury Electronics makes a 10 bay version of the the 500 series thing.
yeah, yeah.
So
Well,
they have their own preamps, or they can take all the other ones.
wow, wow. So much audio killer gear out there. I love
Uh,
it, man.
no, I think
The
this year is going to be definitely some kind of a preamp, 500 series, and probably a patch bay year for me.
Okay, man.
Yeah,
I'm excited, man.
me too.
I'm excited, man. I've really been thinking about you building that
Well,
that
it's going to
piece.
happen.
Yeah, yeah. You know, just I don't know. There's just so much to either choose from, but if you know that the parts are really, really top notch parts, and that the transformers and all that other stuff is top notch
Well, the
transformers.
Transformers are exactly what you get on the Neve or Cornhill Transformers. And being that it's a company based in the UK, you know that the parts are well sorted.
Hmm.
The build um, documents you can see online, they're very well done. So in terms of following instructions, is
Yeah,
if you know what you're doing, it's really not big of a deal.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it sounds like a nice piece to
Mm-hmm.
get into, man.
Yeah, man.
Get get that soldering gun out, baby.
Yeah, man. So listen, let me get out of your hair. I do have to kind of get back to life here and get dinner happening.
Okay, that
But
sounds great.
we'll do
Thank
it
you so
again
much.
soon.
Thank you so much, Dennis, for joining in, my friend.
Thank you
Thank
for
you so
having me.
much. Yes, and we will see you again. And all you guys out there, man, thank you so much for joining in tonight. And we will see you tomorrow, Texas
See you,
times,
everybody.
7 o'clock. See you there, Dennis. Thank you,
See you.
man. All you guys, thank you for staying in tonight. We appreciate all of you here at Audio Master Studios. And if you haven't hit that subscribe button, hit that subscribe button right down there. And also slam that bell. Type down there as to why you like a Shure microphone, and that will get you in the Shure SM7B drawing. You don't want to miss out, man. It's easy. Hit the subscribe button, a little red and white button right down there. It's real easy. And we will see you Texas time tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Until then, be cool.